Ready for a change?
I am talking to you.
Then get ready to explore the quantum possibilities. It's time to transform that outdated paradigm into something universal and new. Time to uncover the truth hidden beneath the veil of lies. A time to think outside the box as we link to a higher consciousness. Welcome to the awakening. And now the hosts of Broadcast Team Alpha, Nori Love and Augie Nost.
Well, hey, everybody. We are here in the KCOR studios again. So glad you're joining us for this week's cutting edge conversations on aliens and the Vatican. I mean, really? As if some of the things about the Catholic Church are not weird enough. I mean, like going into the confessional booth with the heavy curtain, right, to block out the sound, to tell your sins. But can you even imagine coming out and holding the curtain for the next person waiting who happens to be an alien? I mean, is this what we're talking? Could this even happen? But we would really love to hear from you in the chat room and join us on our social media platforms on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And most importantly, connect with us on our website, broadcastteamalpha.com, where you can listen and view our shows, and also on YouTube. And while you're there, please subscribe. We invite you to help us reach the 5,000 subscriber mark. And lastly, but not leastly, thank you for supporting us with your donations and by sharing our show with your family and friends and frenemies. We'll take care of them. But be on the lookout, because soon you'll be able to get cutting edge Broadcast Team Alpha merchandise and even join us in live webinars and masterminds. So the Vatican and aliens, the Pope and ETs. Augie, please tell us more about this topic and one of our favorite return guests.
Oh, absolutely. This is going to be so fun. I tell you, Jim Nichols is returning to Broadcast Team Alpha with another fascinating subject we will be discussing tonight. And I know Jim very well. He's right here in Tucson, and we meet once a month, and we talk probably several times during the month on the phone. We meet at this place where he shows, at the library here, where he shows some of his videos that he's putting together. And there is some fascinating, really good material. For those of you that want to have another look at it, I'll say it now, but we will repeat it again a little bit. And that is, go to jimnicholsufo.net. And you will see, I think he's got about 35 different blogs, videos, and stories on there. And these stories, there are some of the stories that will blow your sock off, and at least one. And I tell you, this is going to be really good, because he has dug up some stories here, not just stories. There is an interview that show us that it sure looks like the Vatican and the Pope have been in contact with an alien race, or more than one alien race, possibly. So, Jim, give us the rest of the story. We'll hang on to the other sock until you're done.
Welcome, Jim.
Oh, wow, that's great. Thank you so much. That's just a delightful introduction there. And I always enjoy our chats together. We've had some fun doing this.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
We talked about Eisenhower's contact in the desert in 1954.
Yes.
And then we talked a little bit about the history of the Vatican and aliens. But I wanted to, this is a story that kind of bridges the gap between the two. And we're going to call it Secretum Omega. Secretum Omega, which means the Omega secret. So grab your socks and pull.
Exactly.
We're going to find out exactly what the Omega secret is here.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
I guess I didn't take any chances tonight. I don't have socks at all.
Well,
So
it's too cold to take my shoes off right
now.
Go ahead.
Jim, Secretum Omega, I mean, that reminds me of something, from the Da Vinci Code or Latin class.
And well, it should.
Mm-hmm.
Secretum Omega is the highest level of clearance, of secret clearance in the Vatican's version of the CIA, which is SIV, which is Servizio Informazioni del Vaticano. SIV, okay? And it was because of President Eisenhower's contact in 1954 that Pope Pius XII created SIV. Now, that's a whopper doozy in itself. So let's go back a little bit. President Eisenhower allegedly had a contact at Muroc Air Base, which is today Edwards Air Force Base in California, not far from Palm Springs, in February of 1954, where he allegedly met one or more extraterrestrial groups. He got to see at least 5 flying saucers, and he had arranged to have a cross-section of population, a cross-section of people present at this meeting just to gauge the public reaction to this, facing this reality. And one of the gentlemen present was Bishop James McIntyre of the Los Angeles Diocese of the Catholic Church. And he was there to get a spiritual perspective, a spiritual reaction from a Catholic bishop to such an extraordinary, astounding event as this. This is unprecedented. So here's this bishop present with Eisenhower, viewing the aliens in their spaceships, right? And within the delegation that Eisenhower had assembled, they were all sworn to absolute secrecy, that nobody dared divulge what they had seen or what had transpired at the airbase. Well, Bishop McIntyre, being that he was a bishop, was torn between his loyalty to the United States and to the president, but he was also under obligation to the Vatican, to the Pope at Rome. So McIntyre made the decision. He says, this is too big a story for me to just sit on and not tell the Pope. So he arranged a flight to Rome shortly thereafter to inform the Pope of the events that took place in California. He flew out of Los Angeles. He got as far as Las Vegas, and the plane was ordered to land. And an Air Force colonel got on the plane and lectured Bishop McIntyre, again, not to violate his oath of secrecy to the president. And the bishop tended to disagree, and he says, no, I have responsibility to the Pope. So the colonel kind of gave him, and the colonel did not arrest him. The colonel allowed him to go on to Rome, but he was rather threatening and intimidating with Bishop McIntyre as the plane left. Anyway, as the story goes on, the bishop did meet with the Pope in Rome. He explained to the Pope, this is Pope Pius XII, what transpired in California. The Pope was so impressed and was so concerned. He says, "Well, we need to establish our own Vatican investigation service to monitor this extraordinary event." So the Pope ordered Bishop McIntyre, and he also included Bishop Mooney, Edward Mooney, I think was his name, from Detroit. 2 American bishops were to be in charge of liaison between the Pope and President Eisenhower with regard to the alien issue. Well, as things progressed, according to Cristoforo Borbato, he was the gentleman who tells this story, said that Pope Pius XII himself began to have face-to-face meetings with extraterrestrials at the Vatican. So this whole thing just kind of balloons into a much larger event. And so that's the story. When I read this story back in 2006, this is kind of what pushed me over the edge to get really serious about looking at President Eisenhower's ET contact. So I put together a presentation based on this at the Laughlin UFO Congress in 2010, and I called it Briefing Paper, which told the whole story of President Eisenhower's ET contact. But it was because of this article, Secretum Omega, that I had read that really pushed me over the edge and said, wait a minute, this is a much bigger story than we ever realized.
Wow.
Yeah, and the thing about it is that when you look at the Catholic Church, they have changed lately. They have changed their stat. They're saying, if the aliens show up, we will welcome them because they are God's creatures too.
Absolutely right.
So, and another bishop, he said something to the effect that we fully expect to be visited or find alien life, and we will welcome them.
Okay, so my opening is not that far-fetched. I mean, you could be in line to go to the confessional with an alien. I rest my case.
Yeah.
You're laughing. You think that's funny.
I don't really. I know. It probably happened, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Boy, you're pretty close, though.
Well, yeah, let's see. Upon returning to the United States, McIntyre and Archbishop Edward Mooney of Detroit were later the principal coordinators of the operation, passing the information to the Vatican. But these events took an unexpected turn because McIntyre and other SIV members began to have direct contact, in essence, without the knowledge of the military, with an alien race of the Nordic type, apparently benevolent, coming from the Pleiades. Oh, yeah. And these aliens advised to be careful with the other creatures encountered by the Americans in the California desert. These meetings with the members of the SIV happened many times in the United States and twice inside the Vatican Gardens near the Pontifical Academy of Science in the presence of Pope Pius XII.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this kind of precipitates an ecclesiastical conflict for the Pope. I said, well, wait a minute. Are these aliens of God? Are they to be trusted? Are they angels? For crying out loud, would you consider these as angels? And he says, without a doubt, these beings which we refer to live in a different dimensional plane, different from not being angels in the true sense of the word. While on the other hand, these Nordic aliens have flesh and bone. Even though they are very evolved to a technical and spiritual point, they still have bodies. But these creatures, and this is where it gets really interesting, announced to have discovered in the Catholic Church, or more precisely in the message of Christ, the pure essence of God. And they offered to cooperate themselves for the good of humanity.
Really?
Yeah.
So I don't think these guys would be invited into the confessional.
Interesting.
They probably wouldn't have anything to say.
Right. Okay.
That's a good point.
Well, did these entities live in sin, or have these entities, evolved beyond sin? So that's the ecclesiastical dilemma that the church has to deal with here. Let me go on.
Interesting. So
I really wanted to get these quotes down to be really clear about the Pope's position with regard to these entities, and because eventually after this also links up to a connection with George Adamski.
right.
Because George Adamski allegedly met with Pope Pius XII as he was dying.
Right.
And that he also had a message from the quote-unquote aliens for Pope Pius XII. I get these popes mixed up.
I remember I was back in Norway when Pope Pius XII died.
Yes.
And they were all over the newspapers, all over Europe, that during the moment that he died, there were thunderstorms and there were blue lightning bolts that was flying back and forth in the sky above the Vatican at the time he died. This was in the newspapers. Because I remember this because my mom was all into this thing.
So I just want to go back. I mean, maybe that was, the Pleiadian farewell, or I don't know. Maybe the Pope went to Pleiades. Who knows, right? But so the creatures announced that they discovered in the Catholic Church, in the message of Christ, the pure presence of God. Yes. That's what you said? Wow, that's interesting.
Yes.
I think I better repent for what I've said about the Catholic Church. Interesting. I'm loving this conversation.
Yeah, because when you talk about Christ, that is not necessarily Yahshua or Jesus himself. That is, Christ is the energy or love. So I could see how they could find something true and genuine in that concept of love.
Exactly, right. So,
but they said they discovered it in the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
Well, remember, this is okay. This account is coming from a Jesuit operative within SIV.
Right.
Okay, he's sharing this story with investigator Christopher Barbado, and he's careful in how he chooses his words because he can't say it in a way as the Pleiadians are more spiritually elevated than the Vatican.
Right.
You can't say that, right?
No.
So it's you have to be very cautious about how you word this. But Pope Pius XII seemed to be very enthusiastically impressed by these Nordic extraterrestrials, and he seemed to give a lot of trust to them. And when Pope Pius died, his successor, Pope John the 23rd, was much more cautious and much more conservative about approaching this subject. But then, over the course of Pope John the 23rd's pontificate, he too had face-to-face meetings with Pleiadian extraterrestrials. And if you go online, if you look up Pope John the 23rd and extraterrestrials, you can find a sketch of the Pope meeting with these tall Nordic aliens who have pointy ears like Mr. Spock.
Really?
Really. So, both of these popes allegedly had face-to-face contact with extraterrestrials, and they developed a certain Vatican posture toward this issue. And I don't know whether that posture has been maintained, or whether it seems the whole issue of the Vatican and aliens seem to have slipped into the background for many years, and it's only in the last 5 or 6 years that this issue has come to the forefront again. But I don't know if this is a continuation of Pope Pius policy, or whether they're developing a whole new approach to the alien issue with the Vatican today.
Yeah. Well, I kind of think that they may have some contact, but after a while, remember what it was written about our president meeting with the alien. I mean, not our president now, but before, met with them. They got tired because nothing happened, so they got tired with it, and then they stopped coming back.
Oh, great. So, we were boring.
Yeah, we're boring.
Well, we've got 4 minutes to break, but this is fascinating. I mean, I really feel like this is true.
Well, it certainly does have a ring of credibility to it. Okay.
Yeah, and I think that the Vatican has been extremely interested in this over a long period of time, because look what they did. They built a phenomenally expensive and a huge telescope on Mount Graham in Arizona, calling it the Lucifer telescope.
Interesting name.
Yeah.
Also, Cristoforo Barbato had been researching the miracle at Fatima in Portugal in 1916, and that's what he was researching when he was approached by this man from SIV, who said, we can talk a bit more things here if you're interested. Mm-hmm. And so Cristoforo Barbato was very skeptical of this at first, but over time, this gentleman from the SIV confirmed his identity and confirmed his background and confirmed, just what SIV was all about.
Wow.
To the point that it made Barbato a believer of the story. Okay.
Let's hold there and pick it up after the break. We've just got maybe 30 seconds to the break, and we'll pick this right back up, and we'll see you on the other side.
This is the Broadcast Team Alpha Show, hosted by Nori Love and Augie Nost. The one show that takes your doubts of the unknown and spins them into reality. Share your thoughts by calling our hotline number at 702-425-9230. That's 702-425-9230. Call now. Worldwide callers use Skype name KCOR Radio. More cutting-edge conversation and exploration of the quantum universe after this.
Toxins are everywhere, from the air we breathe to the food we eat and the water we drink. In a world where 80,000 known toxins and heavy metals threaten our very existence, how are you going to protect yourself and your loved ones? Introducing Pure Body Extra Strength, the world's first colloidal zeolite that helps trap and remove toxins as well as heavy metals from your body that are messing with your memory, clarity, sleep, and focus. Don't just take our word for it, or the testimonials from our thousands of happy customers. Check out the hundreds of articles and case studies on the National Institute of Health website proving zeolite's powerful ability to remove toxins. For a limited time, listeners to KCOR will receive 10% off their first order. To get started, go to trypurebody.com and enter promo code RADIO10. Again, that's trypurebody.com. Toxic junk is all around us, but now you can take back control of your health and protect yourself by detoxing with Pure Body Extra Strength. You'll be on your way to sleeping better, thinking more clearly, and feeling more energetic. Go to trypurebody.com right now and get started today.
Hello, KCOR listeners. Lorian Fenton here from the Fenton Files to tell you about UFOCon 2020 in San Francisco, February 20th through 23rd. A conference like no other, UFOCon is where experiencers are going to reveal new information and science and consciousness will collide. So get your tickets at UFOCon2020.com. That's UFOCon2020.com. Don't miss what will be the most talked about conference of the decade.
Immerse yourself in an epic journey through time where ancient mysteries unfold within a story of love and betrayal, as well as a battle of good versus evil in The Emissary Book 1. The reader's favorite gold medal award winner for Visionary Fiction 2019, the action and adventure of The Emissary continues in The Emerald Tablet, Book 2. The 2019's Bronze Medal Award winner, The Emissary and The Emerald Tablet by Tamara Veach and Rennie DeFazio are both available now on Amazon.com. Let your reading adventure begin.
Great.
It's great. I think it's great. I think it's
The all-new KCOR Digital Radio Network.
great. Make a note of it. It's great.
If ever a breed was affectionate to a fault, it's the Golden Retriever. They're people dogs, pure and simple. And the Golden Retriever Rescue of Southern Nevada needs your help. If you would like to volunteer, foster, adopt, or donate, go to the Golden Retriever Rescue of Southern Nevada's website at grrsn.org. That's grrsn.org. Or call 598-GOLD. That's 598-GOLD.
Come to the coast, we get together, have a few laughs.
Hi, this is Mac Maloney.
And this is the famous Juan Juan.
And Commander Cobra.
And you know, everyone here at Mac Maloney's Military X-Files show would like to wish all our friends at KCOR a Merry Christmas. What are you getting for Christmas there, Juan Juan?
Set of trains.
Set of trains. Okay.
Maybe a Barbie doll.
Wow, okay. Merry Christmas.
Happy New Year.
And a Happy Kwanzaa.
Merry Christmas. And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Woo!
Going live.
Come explore the quantum possibilities. This is Broadcast Team Alpha.
Broadcast Team Alpha.
To be on the show live, call 702-425-9230. That's 702-425-9230. Worldwide callers use Skype name KCOR Radio. Share your thoughts of the show on Twitter at KCOR Radio, #KCOR. Or join the cutting edge conversation live in our chat room at KCORradio.com. Now back to Broadcast Team Alpha with your free thinking hosts, Nori Love and Augie Nast.
Ooh, and we are back. And I just want to do shout out to the chat room. It's getting lively in there. There's B Sexy and CK Peace and Echo and Iowa Girl and JC and Joe and Karen and Malvarez and Margaret. Hey, Margaret, Nori Love. Oh, Nori Love's there. Parquet, Queen Bee, Rob, Shady B, Summer, Tim Lunn, Truther, Yappy's there. And of course, the amazing Tina is there. So thanks everybody for being here. And you know, if you have any questions, just put them in the chat room and we'll get Mr. Jim Nichols to answer if you can.
Yes, I'm here. Ready for more.
Great.
All right. Yeah.
So we were talking during the break about the Pleiadians. Should we and about the Pope's involvement with the Pleiadians. Should we continue that or?
Well, let's go back and look at how enthused Pope Pius XII really was about these Pleiadians, and we had already mentioned that these creatures announced to have discovered in the Catholic Church, more precisely in the message of Christ, the pure presence of God, and they offered to cooperate themselves for the good of humanity. That affirmation on the part of these beings convinced Pope Pius XII to collaborate with them and to consider them as authentic converts to the Christian faith. Now, that's a whopper.
Yeah.
God probably realized that the universal church should communicate its message even to beings coming from other worlds. Okay.
Yeah, that's huge.
Besides, these aliens, through the years, were determined to assist the Church of Rome in all its missions, particularly in determining the character of social and political situations internationally. Now, that was Pope Pius XII. After Pope Pius XII died, Pope John XXIII inherited this policy, this Vatican policy. So let's continue. Thereafter, even Pope John XXIII benefited from the support of these beings who had espoused the Christian cause, but he always preferred to keep it secret, speaking solely of angelic intervention. Pope John XXIII had inherited, in a manner of speaking, an agreement for collaboration between the Holy See and these beneficent aliens of the Nordic race, as stipulated by his predecessor. This situation, the secret agreement, endured throughout the pontificate of Pope John XXIII, who many times expressed to the leaders of SIV his fears regarding investing too much trust in these beings. That's why today we believe one of the main reasons for the convening of the Second Vatican Ecumenical Council was the need to take a first concrete step toward the renewal of the Church in view of the possibility of imminent ET contact. So it's like the Church and the Pope is concerned about maintaining their own autonomy in the face of an ET revelation. It's like, well, if ETs descend from the sky over the Vatican, who are the faithful going to give their trust to? Who are they going to revere? The Vatican or the ETs? So this is a very serious challenge for Vatican authority here.
Yeah, because I can see that chances are that they would lose power, they would lose influence, they would lose money.
Oh, yes, indeed. You have to understand that the Church, there's a billion Catholics worldwide. So this is a powerful political force, not just a spiritual force or ecumenical force. This is a political force. And good example of that. Just go back in 1969. There was a movie that came out about the Pope, and it's called The Shoes of the Fisherman. Yes. And it showed the role of the Vatican as a political entity in trying to organize or trying to work out a conflict between China and Russia.
Wow.
It's an excellent film with Anthony Quinn, but it shows how the Vatican is also not just an ecumenical or spiritual entity, it is also a powerful political entity.
So this may be a good time for Margaret's question from the chat room. Margaret wants to know, whose side is the Vatican on? That's a good question.
Meaning, what sides is she describing here?
That's all. Maybe Margaret can clarify that for us.
Please clarify which side is which here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
maybe.
I think the Vatican's on the Vatican side.
I think so too.
Right? Yeah. And then Shady D has a comment or a question. Shady said, so all this time asking what would happen to religions once there is full disclosure is really already answered, but we were never made aware.
Once again, this is another reason why you don't have disclosure, because the potential confusion it will create with regard to religion and spirituality and so forth.
Interesting.
And I think that's why that the Catholic Church has been elbow deep in ET research for a long time, and the telescope on Mount Graham is a big testament to that.
Well, exactly, and it's like I had mentioned, Fatima. What really happened at Fatima in Portugal in 1917? The church kind of slipped in there and said, "Oh yes, it was a vision of Mother Mary."
Yeah.
But was it really? Was it that, or was it ET? Was this an extraterrestrial ET phenomena of sorts?
Wow.
Here's a little insight on that Fatima deal, actually, because some probably almost 20 years ago now, I interviewed a guy on my TV show in Tucson that had written a book. It was called The Fourth Secret of Fatima. He had been at the Vatican. He had been associating with the red-robed cardinals. And he said, the fourth secret of Fatima. And he quoted it, and I'm not so sure. I have to paraphrase what he said because I don't exactly remember the quote, but he said, the Catholic Church will become the Antichrist. That was supposed to be the fourth secret. Wow. So take that and put it in your pipe and smoke it.
I've heard that too. So, well, let me just finish up here with Pope John the 23rd. Pope John was conflicted over this issue for a long time, but finally he came around and agreed with Pope Pius XII that yes, these aliens that they had been having contact with were to be regarded as brothers in Christ. Okay, and he referenced this quote from Mark, from the Gospel of Mark. It says, "At which time John responded to Jesus, saying, 'Master, we saw a man who is casting out demons in your name, and we forbade him, because he was not one of us.' But Jesus said, 'Forbid him not, for there is no man who shall do a miracle in my name that can then lightly speak evil of me. For he who is not against us is for us. For whosoever shall give you a cup of water to drink in my name, because you belong to Christ, verily I say unto you, he shall not lose his reward.'" The meaning in essence was that the presumed positive activities of these aliens who accepted the Christic message should be blessed and not opposed or obstructed, but always kept distinct and parallel to that of the Church. These aliens should be considered as the stranger who rescues in the name of Christ and who should not be impeded from doing so. And then Pope, let's see, I think it's Pope Pius XII also stated, some voices were previously unknown, but this is difficult to read. But this concerns voices descending from the sky to earth, voices which possess and reflect the omnipotence of the Heavenly Father. So anyway, you can see we have these two popes here who are somewhat enamored of extraterrestrials.
Yeah.
And it's like, as Pope, how do I reconcile this with Catholic doctrine? How do I reconcile this with the faithful? It's like, whose word do we follow? E.T.'s word or God's word? Or how do we discern which is which?
Yeah. Well, I think for the Catholic Church, when the rubber hit the road, I think it probably came down to a political, economic decision not to tell the world about it.
Well, it's easier to maintain their autonomy and authority.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
And the catch in all of theology and Judeo-Christian history is the conflict or the confusion between what is demonic and what is angelic. Mm-hmm. Because there's passages in the Bible that says that the demons rule the air. So if spaceships come down from out of the sky, there are those that that means that they're demonic, they're evil. But then there's the other thing in the Bible. It says when Christ returns, he will be seen in the clouds. He will be this light that appears in the sky that everyone will see. So there's this confusion. There's this cognitive dissonance that the second coming, or will it be? We always think of angels coming from the sky. I mean, this is the season of Advent. This is when the angels appeared to the shepherds. In the Christ story, it's like these are angelic beings that come down from the sky. So subconsciously, this is part of our fabric of our consciousness, and historically, is that these beautiful beings will come down from the sky, and that's an expectation.
I think this is
Christian.
This is part of the confusion that they couldn't get right. They argued and argued and argued in 325, and they wrote up the first draft to the Bible.
Right.
Yeah.
So Rob has a question from the chat room. He said, why did the College of Cardinals choose a Jesuit priest for the Pope when they knew the rule was they never choose a Jesuit priest for the Pope?
The Jesuit priests are the
most powerful. Story.
That's a whole other story. That's another show.
That's a couple shows right there.
Okay.
Yeah, the history of the Jesuits and Ignatius Loyola and the creation of the Jesuit order to begin with. And it's like, there's those who would argue that they're not even true Christians, that they're an aberration within that. So and the current Pope is a Jesuit. All the cardinals and priests who run the Vatican Observatory are all Jesuits.
Yeah.
So it's like
it's the researching and the political and the militant arm of the Catholic Church. Exactly.
Right. The Jesuit order was formed as a response to the Protestant Reformation.
Yeah,
there was this huge move against the Catholic Church toward Protestantism, and so the Jesuits came in as a challenge to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know that the Jesuits have been involved in UFO research for a long time. I know that for a fact because I think it was 1997 or 6, we received a second-hand copy from the original documents from the African Air Force of the Kalahari Desert UFO crash. That came from a Catholic Jesuit priest in Switzerland to us in Omaha. We got it directly from him. So this is what they do. They research and research.
Well, they have probably one of the world's best intelligence gathering systems.
Yeah.
Which is the confessional.
Yeah, there you go.
You go to every country, you set up a Catholic church, you set up a confessional, and it's like they're not just confessing their sins, you're getting an insight into how this country works.
Yeah.
So it's the perfect intelligence gathering mechanism.
So I'm going to go back to what you said before, if I may, that the ETs said that they found in the message of Christ the pure presence of God.
Yes.
So could Christ have been a Pleiadian?
Yep. Could have. I'll beat you to it, Jim.
I know it's out there, but...
Yeah, that's a good question for Barbara Marciniak.
Yeah, we have to get Barbara Marciniak on.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, if you go back and read Jesus' exchange with Pontius Pilate at his trial, Jesus just flat out says, I'm not from this world.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like,
hello.
Hello. If somebody
Yeah.
walks up to me and says, I'm not from this world, I say, well, what are you, an extraterrestrial?
Exactly.
Are you an alien?
Oh my goodness, this is a really good conversation tonight. Wow, Jim. My sock just flew off. Yeah, that's gone.
The last one, huh?
It's gone.
Well, yeah, I'm glad we have approached this topic, because I thought I had this information in my files, and I lost it. I thought, well, where did I get that quote from? Pope John the 23rd. And so that was a whopper doozy, and I need to go back and find that. So I did. I went back and found this article on Secretum Omega, and so I have to thank you, because I'd forgotten all about it. It wasn't even in my files.
Wow. So I would like to invite the Pleiadians to come on the show. I'm just saying. I'm just putting it out there in case you're listening.
We'll be all ears, and we will be very friendly.
That's right.
Right.
We are brothers and sisters, yeah. So
we're Pleiadian friendly here. But no, I think that the other thing, and I think this is what the Jesuits in the Vatican today have been arguing, that it's like extraterrestrials would not necessarily need to be baptized, because and how they know this, I don't know. They've determined that, well, they don't live in sin.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, how do they know that? How do you know that these entities have transcended sin to where they don't need to be redeemed by Christ? So you're saying, oh, yeah, crying out loud, you're putting these guys almost on the level of Christ himself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, maybe there's a reason for that.
So, hello, yeah, there's...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This, for any theologian, this has got to be a real challenge. A real challenge.
Wow. I'm loving this.
There's a coin out there, but there's got two sides to it, and I think from individual people's way of looking at things, they have to choose one of those sides.
Well,
was he really?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. An alien? Because when I did my research for the book of spiritual science, I found a document that is supposed to come from the surviving Roman records, where it says that there is no record of Joshua Beth Halachme before he was about 5-6 years old.
Hmm.
In other words, he just showed up.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay, well that gets into...
And we've only got 4 minutes left, so...
That gets into immaculate conception and in vitro implants.
Yeah.
Places I don't really care to go.
Yeah, wow.
But, it's like I would have to have a lot more access to a lot more data before I could make a determination of whether this ET is in fact, angelic or benevolent or whatever. It's like, so for me, the jury's out. It's a fascinating bit of conjecture, but as far as the jury's still out, I can't make a determination one way or the other, because
Let's-
I don't
let's-
have enough information yet.
Let's leave the jury out till next time. We only got 3 minutes left here. So, Jim, please let people know where they can get a hold of you and watch some more of your videos and so on.
Well, you can watch I have my own video channel. It's Jim Nichols UFO Videos on YouTube. And I believe one of my videos on there is about President Eisenhower's ET contact. And I do have another video there also, I think, about the Vatican as well.
Yeah.
But I have a number of videos there, and you can go to my jimnicholsufo.net, and I have 34 blogs there, and you can just blog yourself to death reading them.
Yeah.
and so with that in mind, I do have another really interesting blog out there that would segue nicely into our discussion tonight, and that's Archons, the Alien Invaders.
Oh, yeah.
We only we have about a minute left, but I'm going to go read that blog. And Jim, I want to thank you once again for joining us and for, posing the questions that makes us dig a little bit deeper. And we're going to be here next week, everybody. We're going to be here next week on Christmas Eve. And I'm going to try to talk Augie into discussing Abraham Hicks, right? The pioneers, really, of law of attraction, because people think that Abraham Hicks is a guy, and it's not. So let's talk about that.
Let's do that.
All right. And I actually was in the hot seat, so I will definitely talk about how that went. And thanks, everybody. Thanks in the chat room. Augie, thank you as always. And we'll see you next week right here.
We will be here.
You've been listening to Broadcast Team Alpha.
Broadcast Team Alpha.
Hosted by Nori Love and Augie Nost. Every Tuesday night at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. The balance of power is shifting to a new paradigm. Will you be ready? For more information on Broadcast Team Alpha, as well as the hosts, Nori Love and Augie Nost, please visit their website at broadcastteamalpha.com. Until next week, remember to keep those minds open while always exploring the endless quantum possibilities.
Broadcast Team Alpha. Over and out.
This is KCOR Las Vegas, home of the Digital Radio Network, broadcasting from a shack just south of Area 51.
Wait, that doesn't exist.
This is the